Go ahead and be seated. Good morning.
Good morning.
So yesterday was Cathedral Day. That means that people from all across our diocese, from all the way from the San Juan Islands, all the way down to Vancouver, from Seattle to Snoqualmie, all met at St. Mark's Cathedral for a time of welcoming people into the Episcopal Church through the sacrament of confirmation and the rite of reconciliation. We had 3 members confirmed. We had Ben, Dawn, and Francie, and it was a great day. Diane carried our St. Clair's banner in the procession after we figured out how to make that all go together. The crossbar didn't quite fit, the banner didn't want to slide on, and the vertical pole had its own ideas about how tall it wanted to be. In large part due to the ingenuity of Diane and Lisa Herring and Lisa's magic bag of tricks. So yes, duct tape, a sewing kit, and a pocket knife were all involved. So no matter what you need, Lisa Herring is your friend. That banner, it stood tall as a sign of who we are as a church that shows up and joins in and celebrates what God is doing across our diocese, in this church, and in our community. One of the people confirmed was Francie, our daughter, and after the confirmation, I gave her a huge hug. And I did what I always do when I hug my kids. I sniffed her head. And I don't know why I do this. The kids make relentless fun of me for doing it, but it's one of the things that tells my deepest self, these are mine. And I think we all do this in some way. You know, have you ever held onto a shirt or a pillow of someone you've loved who is gone, a mother, a husband, a friend, and you just breathe it in, and suddenly you remember. You're not just thinking, you're feeling. It happens to me with my mom's perfume. She always wore the same perfume, and I have no idea what brand it is. I've looked for it, I can't find it, I can't even describe it, right? It doesn't smell like flowers, and it doesn't smell like spring, it doesn't smell like anything except for my mom. And occasionally somebody will walk by me with that perfume on, and no matter what I'm doing, it just stops me. And I just stop, and in an instant, she is there. And at our diocesan convention this last year, there was a woman with her perfume, with my mom's perfume on. And I'll admit, I stood next to this woman a few more times than was probably okay. Creepy priest definitely showed up. But I would stand around the corner from her, and I would just feel my mom. You know, I'd have these random memories. I can remember being a child, sitting in church next to her, listening to her sing. I would play with her rings on her hand, and I would trace the veins on the back of her hand while she sang songs. And it was so visceral. That smell takes me right back to being a little kid nestled on the pew next to my mom. And that's the power of smell. Science tells us that smell is a stronger trigger for memory than anything else. It bypasses the brain, it goes straight to the heart. And that is what happens to Peter today. He sees that fire, and he smells the smoke, and all at once, he remembers the last time that he stood at a charcoal fire. It was in the high priest's courtyard. Jesus was on trial, and Peter was afraid, and he denied the Lord 3 times. And then the rooster crowed. The Gospel of John uses a word, antharkia. It's a charcoal fire. That word is used only twice in the entire New Testament. Once at Peter's denial, and in today's gospel at his restoration. Charcoal burns cleaner than wood, but it gives off this dry, acrid scent, like metal and dust, mixed with the faint trace of the fire's edge. And that's what Peter would have smelled in the courtyard that night he denied Jesus. So when he steps into this beach and he smells that same kind of fire, before he sees the fish or before he hears the voice, that dry, bitter smoke hits him first. The fire smells the same as the one in the courtyard, and the body remembers. I can only imagine the emotions that were coursing through his body, shame and guilt, regret, and not because Jesus was angry. And Jesus did not accuse him. These were Peter's own emotions coming from Peter, not from Jesus. Jesus was just cooking breakfast, right? A simple fire and a meal, a way to say, you are still mine. And then Jesus spoke. He does not judge. He doesn't give a list of failings. He just asks, do you love me? That's it. No mention of the denials, no rehearsing the past, just love. And Peter, still raw, still remembering, says, yes. And Jesus doesn't argue or hesitate. He simply says, feed my sheep. And then Jesus asks again, do you love me? And Peter answers again, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. And again, Jesus responds, tend my sheep. And then the third time the question comes, not to wound, but to heal. Peter's 3 yeses begin to untangle the 3 no's spoken by the fire that past night. Jesus doesn't erase the past, but he does redeem it. That call wasn't just for Peter, and it didn't end on the beach. Jesus speaks it still. To anyone who has known failure, Jesus offers grace. To anyone who has felt the weight of regret, Jesus still calls your name in love. And we too are given the same call. Feed my sheep, because we have been fed by Jesus ourselves. And now we are sent to do what he did, to notice hunger, to offer care, and to make sure that no one is left out. Feeding is just one part of the bigger calling to be a church that reflects the heart of Jesus, a community that tends and heals and welcomes and loves in very ordinary and embodied ways. But today, in this time, it might actually mean feeding. I think this is a mission that St. Clair's really gets, right? Our garden feeds clients of the food bank with fresh produce. Our Reclaim ministry cooks food each month for people who are in transitional housing. And even our coffee hours offer more than just snacks. They create a table where connection and care are shared freely. So I have been talking with Allison at the food bank the last couple of months about the new realities that the food bank is facing and is likely to face in the future. And I talked to her again this last week, and their funding and donations have been radically affected, even as demand is going up and as demand is expected to go up in the coming months. She said staples like mac and cheese and dried lentils are gone. Those are never gone. Those are the things that they say, hey, don't give us dried lentils. We have those. We have plenty, right? We have plenty, but not now. As we talked about ways to address this need, we decided to start a new ministry from St. Clair's to benefit the food bank. It's called the Food Project. There's some information on our website if you want to learn more about it, but it's actually really simple. There are 50 food projects around the country, right? And they all work essentially the same. So there are neighborhood coordinators, and each neighborhood coordinator finds 10 people in their neighborhood or close by, right? So that it's easy to manage. And you find 10 people who say, I can fill up one reusable green bag once every other month. So every week, you go and you put something in your bag. And you do that every week, and then every other month on a designated day, Saturday, every other month, they put their bag on the porch. The neighborhood coordinator goes and picks up their 10 bags from their 10 donors, and then we all meet at the food bank. The neighborhood coordinators all meet at the food bank, and we weigh it, sort it, and stock it. And that's it. So it's really simple. But it's actually really effective. So the Issaquah Food Bank, the Issaquah Food Project, who is mentoring me and kind of just helping me get started, they've collected 87,000 pounds of food last year. Wow. Right? In this simple way. Vancouver, they collected 200,000 pounds. Wow. And Bend, Oregon, over 300,000 pounds of food last year. So we're going to do this. And I think it can make a huge difference for our food bank, for people in our community. So I want you to consider to be a neighborhood coordinator. If you do that, you find 10 people that you know that you could say, can I give you this green bag? And can you fill it up? I can support you as you help find those 10 people. I've got info sheets I can give you. Look in the newsletter this next week. There's going to be a sign up. Or you can just text me and say, hey, I want to do this. What do I do? But I think it's a way that we can all make a difference and feed people just like Jesus tells us to. And one more thing, we are having a food drive on Saturday at the Ridge Safeway. So if you want to come help, there's a sign up for that too. You can just tell me or Cindy or sign up in the Sign Up Genius. And we'll have a list of the most needed items. And when people come into Safeway, we'll give them to them. And then when they come out, they can just drop off their items with us, and then we'll deliver them to the food bank. And I think this is a great way to bridge the gap while we're waiting for the first food project pickup, which we're going to try to do as early as June, because the need is now. And I think it's simple enough that we can, even starting small, we can start now. So Jesus didn't restore Peter to just make him feel better. He gave him something to do. Feed my sheep. And that call is still ringing. It's ours now. The fire is still warm, and the table is open. The world is hungry. Let's respond, not with guilt or pressure, but with love, with food, with presents, with green bags and grocery lists, and tables full of grace, because we have been fed, and now it is our turn.